Hi, this is the second Grief Warriors. Grief is about the sadness related to climate change and so many other things that are going on in our planet. And Warrior is about the fact that we're not going to give up. I'm looking for other people who are really aware of climate change. I was really sad this morning. I had found a listing on the internet the other day that said there were 12 well-known climate change activists. Well, in the first place, one was 99, one was 31, and I think everyone else was younger. So it's clear to me that our youth are paying attention. I've thought that all along. I'm a retired teacher, and I've read so many things about an enormous study of 10,000 kids in 10 different countries, I believe it was, and how they're worried about their futures. And I'm worried about their futures. I want to know if there's anything I can do. I've tried to alert people to the problems of climate change my entire life, but I don't seem to have much response from people, and that's why I've decided to go on YouTube and have this continuing series that just is entitled Grief Warriors, because I believe that we're all dealing with the grief that surrounds our concern about what's going on, our concern for not just ourselves, but for our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, also concern for our plants and our animals and the air and the water, all those things. And climate isn't the only thing that's going on right now. There's an effort to ignore the climate, which I think is an incredible situation. And there's also so many political and supply chain, pirates on the seas, and so many different things. Wars. Right now, there's 3 wars here that I know about. There's the Gaza Strip, there's the Ukraine, and there's Iran. And I just can't understand. I mean, my father was in the Korean War and World War II, and I so hoped after World War II. I was a baby, a young child, and when my dad came back, he was so different. And I was hoping that was the end of that. But then I lived with Vietnam from the age of 5 until 4 years after I graduated from high school. I mean, that was a long war. That was a 10-year war. I wore the bracelet. I wish we all had a bracelet right now that said peace, no war, or something like that. Maybe somebody's a better wordsmith than I am, but the idea of coming together and saying, no, this is not the way we want to live our lives. We want to live our lives sharing this earth, sharing the resources and making sure that they're distributed in such a way that everyone has some, but don't overuse. Right now, when you look at overshoot, you can discover that by March 15th, the United States has already used a whole year of Earth's resources, an entire year. That's why they say it takes 5.5 Earths to supply the United States with the resources it needs, or uses, not need necessarily. And that's the point. How can we reduce that need? What kinds of things can we do to encourage people to use less, to minimalize more, to in 1979, I had a wood-burning water heater. I had solar, I had wind, I had a wood cabin and on a piece of land in Kentucky. And I can't understand. I mean, it's been so many years. 1962, when Rachel Carson wrote Silent Spring, it was obvious we had a problem. And yet we're still sitting here all these years later wondering what's happening. And so some of the scientists have said this was going to happen and that was going to happen and something else. And there's been so many changes, but so many times they've said it's worse than we thought. I mean, when we first started hearing it, it was 2100. And then it was 2050. And yet we've already seen a lot of changes, and this is supposed to be the hottest summer. So when you have a chance, reach out, make a comment in the bottom descriptions. Let me know you're there. Let me know you're concerned. Tell me who you feel is doing the most and how you feel we should go forward. I've been following Guy McPherson for over 15 years and also John Overpeck. There's many other groups that I follow. I'm in been in the Climate Psychology Alliance for about 5 years. I've been with Deep Adaptation nearly 3.5, 4 years. I've been with Climate Club the same amount of time, and Earth Listening. All these different groups are working hard to make sure we're all paying attention to what's going on. So let me know what you're doing, how you see the situation, and what you would like to do, how you would like to work together for personal preparedness. That means stuff. And what about mental preparedness, emotional preparedness? What kinds of things can we do to put our mind in the right place so that we know how we feel about what's going on and how we want to move forward? And the most important thing that I can think of regarding our youth is, how do we talk to them? What should we be saying to them to give them any hope? Should we give them hope? Should we tell them what we know, tell them how we feel? I don't think we should ever lie to children, but do we know enough that we can speak to them in a way that helps them want to do something, to be beneficial about moving forward? And so many of them don't want to go to school, and they certainly don't want to go to college because they don't see any reason to do so. And I'm not sure I want to tell them to, because I'm not sure how I feel about what's going on. I'd rather have other people like myself who've taken an active interest in what's going on, have them come forward and say, how about we tell them this? Or what if we were to approach it that way? Or how about if we get together and make a statement? That would be fantastic. Whatever you think, I'd love to hear about it. Make a comment below. I'll get back to you. And if you're down there, look at our nonprofit. We've been 34 years. We've been telling people to respect the earth. And there's artwork down there that's especially there to remind people to protect the earth. And I'd love to hear from you. I'd really love to hear from you. Thank you.